So, you've created some great content that you believe is in demand with buyers. The next step is making sure it can be found by those buyers. This is why it's vitally important that you do the right things to ensure your content pops up as high in searches as possible. And I'm going to share some steps to do just that. Now, many people think it's all about the keyword, and keywords are absolutely important, and we'll get to those in a moment. But many don't realize just how crucial it is to have carefully written titles as well. There's a few reasons for this. First, the agencies have algorithms that consider the content of image and video titles when displaying your content in search results. They expect certain things to be in the titles and for them to be within a certain character count. Second, your image and video titles factor into several key parts of a web page that get indexed by search engines like Google. This makes it possible for people to find your content before they even reach a stock agency, as they perform web searches in Google, Bing, and other search sites. Good placement in these searches can increase the likelihood that people will find your portfolio at the agencies and download your work. So let's look at the best way to write titles. Here's what they should include. Who or what is the subject of the image or video? A few simple words of description. Is there an action demonstrated? A few verbs should be included. Beyond the core person or object, what other elements are included? What is the person or object interacting with? Is there a concept at the core of the photo? Is the location relevant? If so, include it. So let's look at this image as an example and come up with a title that checks all the boxes we just went over. Who are the core subjects in the image? A businesswoman and businessman? It's also a good idea to note race or ethnicity where relevant, since diversity, equity, and inclusion is such an important topic these days. We could say here a black businesswoman and businessman, and since there's some debate on the preferred term, we could be more inclusive to say black African-American businesswoman if indeed the photo was taken in the U.S. What's the main action featured? Shaking hands. Are there other core elements included? There is a tablet computer in the shot, but I would say it's not an essential element, so my judgment would be to not include it. If a customer were looking for an image of a tablet and this image came up because we included it in the title, the customer would probably not see it as meeting their need. So it's important to think like a potential buyer as you write these titles. Including tablet computer in your title would essentially be spamming, since it's not really what this photo is about. Is there a concept in the photo? I would say closing the deal or job interview. And since the photo could meet either of these needs, I would include both. Is the location relevant? I would say yes, the scene is a conference room, and if I were a customer looking for an image of business people in a conference room, it is relevant to have the location in the title, so let's include it. Putting all these elements together, a good title for this image would be Black African-American Businesswoman and Man Shaking Hands, Closing the Deal in Job Candidate Interview, and Reaching Agreement in an Office Conference Room. It's always a good idea to run your title through an online character counter to make sure your title isn't too long. Many of the agencies have a character limit, with most being around 150 characters. This title comes out to 155 characters. Let's look at it again, because we can actually tighten it up and remove a few unnecessary words so it's safely under the character limit some agencies use. We have the word "and" in the title twice. It's really not necessary, and some agencies see the repeating of words in the title as spamming. So let's take out the second instance of "and" so we don't trigger an alarm bell. It should be clear to any agency that there's no benefit in us including "and" twice, but let's take it out just to be safe. Plus, the words "the" and "in" aren't important, so let's take those out and get the title down to Black African-American Businesswoman and Man Shaking Hands, Closing Deal in Job Candidate Interview, Reaching Agreement in Office Conference Room. And we're now at 144 characters. So now we have what should be an effective title for the image, and it should work just as well if this were a video. What keywords should we use to make sure buyers will find this image or video? We'll cover that in the next module. I'll see you there.